Hi, my name is Victoria Rivera and I'm a wellness psychotherapist in New York City, and welcome to Mental Health Wellness Wednesday. So last week we talked about burnout, and I talked about the first thing that I help people with is understanding their sleep and perhaps implementing a nap. I was hoping that you were able to do that. Please comment below if you were able to implement a nap over the last week. That would make me very happy. I know I have done that. And so that's the first thing that we work on is sleep, right? And the second thing is diet. So now the first symptom of the syndrome of burnout is mental and physical exhaustion, right? And so we know that like when we're exhausted and we're just not feeling any energy, the first thing we want to do is feel better and feel energetic. So what do? We end up picking out foods and eating things that will help us to feel better in the short term. Usually that's sugar, usually that's bad fats, usually it's salt, usually it's processed foods that actually have a lot of chemicals in them that are not real. It's not real food and not real like chemicals that our body understands. So this affects us in two ways. So one is we don't end up eating nutrient rich or dense foods because we get filled with processed foods that aren't really giving us the nutrients that we need, and as a matter of fact giving us pro-inflammatory things like sugar, unfortunately, and like bad fats, which would be also like omega-6s, which I'll talk a little bit about in a minute, that are in processed foods that are not helpful for our bodies. So the other way in which this affects us is we're actually increasing our cortisol. Because we're stressed, our cortisol is increased, and so our immune system is suppressed. When cortisol is released, it releases a message to our immune system, and it says, hey, look, we're being chased by a tiger right now. We don't have time to like deal with this bacterial infection that you have, or this potential cancerous tumor that you have, or these chemicals that you have in your body that we don't know that you're consuming from these things that are supposed to be called, that's food, that's not really food. So I was talking to people about like, you can't find apple flavoring out on a tree. Like you can find an apple, right? And you would think that the food that you're eating, if you're eating an apple Danish, that they extract the apple flavoring and they put that in the Danish. No, they don't do that. If you watch that video on the Dorito effect, you know what they do. What they do is they mimic the chemical makeup of that apple flavoring of that apple, and then they pour it on or they put it into the Danish so it tastes like it, and your body and your brain is like, oh my God, this is delicious. It tastes like apples, and your brain is like, oh, I'm getting the nutrients from the apple. But you're not really getting the nutrients. What you're getting is the flavoring and the chemicals. And so our immune system actually is like, doesn't recognize it. And so it will hopefully, try to fight it off. But when your immune system is suppressed because you're chronically stressed, all those chemicals will start to wreak havoc on your body because, it doesn't know what to do with that. Okay, so, this sucks, I know, because, you want that chocolate cake, you want the chocolate bar, you want the apple Danish. Life is hard and it really sucks. But what's happening is your diet is inflaming you. And it's making your chronic stress, your anxiety, even your depression, and we know this much worse. So what can you do about it? Well, if you know that you're going to be stressed, which we probably all will be, is understanding a way to plan your meals and plan your snacks. So have like things in your office that you like, that are good for you, almonds and like apples and carrots and like all things that that are good for you. And like, look, if you decide one day that you're going to have the chocolate cake instead of the almonds, it's fine, but at least set yourself up, for success. Plan your meals, don't just, realize that you're hungry at 4 o'clock and walk out to Starbucks and grab like a sandwich that, you don't know what it's made out of. Make your own sandwich or make your own things that are good for you. Plan your own meals. So whole foods versus processed foods. Whole foods are so much better for you, so that is definitely something that you need to do when you're looking at managing your stress in your diet. Adding omega-3 fats as a supplement, making sure that you're sourcing it from a good place where they will extract the negative chemicals that are in like the fish. You can also eat like salmon, mackerel, I think is high, sardines, like high in omega-3s. eating animals that actually eat what they're supposed to eat, which is grass and plants, because those grass and plants have omega-3s, and then so you're consuming whatever the animal that you eat is consuming. And so a lot of the conventionally grown animals that we have, they are eating soy, they're eating corn, and first of all, those foods are genetically modified, and second of all, that's not what they're supposed to be eating, and third of all, it makes them fat and grow faster, and there's all kinds of hormones in them and all kinds of things that you actually don't need for your body, because again, it produces an inflammatory response. So caffeine and alcohol. Alcohol is not the best for you, so I would just look at your relationship between alcohol and your relationship between caffeine. When are you having the caffeine? When do you feel like you need to have it? Do you feel like you're having too much? For some people, they're okay and it doesn't increase their stress response. For other people, it does. So really figure out what your relationship is with caffeine and alcohol and try to change that. So again, diet is really important in terms of working through, in terms of preventing burnout, and also to managing stress in the long run and managing inflammation. I hope that's helpful. We have if you want more information, we are going to be doing a Workplace Warrior Preventing Burnout series. Workplace Warrior series, Preventing Burnout, October 28th in New York City. For those of you who are in New York, it's at 5:30 at Spaces in Hudson Yards on 33rd Street and 10th Avenue. I think it's 424. Anyways, all that information is going to be in my bio. If you can't make it, I'm so sorry. It's going to be an amazing event. Hopefully we'll be able to do more of these and maybe even have them online at some point, which I think would be very helpful. Thank you so much. Have a great week.